Hudson County View, live and uncut. And I'm your host, the guy with the largest arms, the greatest charms, and the words that do the most harm, John, our Heinis, talking about the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So first, certainly the biggest news story in the past week has to be U.S. Senator Bob Menendez getting indicted for not the second, the third, but the fourth time in this federal corruption case. Now, this is the third superseding indictment, and he's being accused of obstruction of justice. Specifically, he's accused of giving checks back to co-defendants who bribed him in an attempt to cover up these alleged bribes. So we're going to tell you what's going on there and where this case is heading. So on top of that, and some other federal news that, of course, impacts Hudson County, we know that U.S. Representative Bill Pascrell is expected to have the Prospect Park mayor announced as a challenger this week. And this is a race that is expected to have a lot of conversations about Gaza and what's happening over in the Middle East. Well, now he's come out in support of a conditional ceasefire. So we're going to tell you what that means in the 9th District, which includes part of Kearney, as well as Secaucus. We're also going to talk a little bit, of course, about what's happening in Jersey City. Obviously, this Board of Education meeting that happened on Thursday was one for the books. We saw the president and vice president, at least theoretically, removed, and then a new president and vice president installed. Will it stand? I still don't know the answer to that, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think my guest today, Jersey City Education Association President Ron Greco, will help us shed some light on that. All that and a whole lot more right after this word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-27.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John, our Heinis. So let's talk about the latest indictment for U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. So it was an 18-count charge from federal prosecutors. This is, of course, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. And we saw the first indictment come in late September, and again, now we're on the fourth one, and this one has a lot in it, folks. It says things such as conspiracy, a public official acting as a foreign agent, bribery, extortion, and honest services, wire fraud, just to name a couple things that are in this superseding indictment. Now, the new charges claim that then counsel for Menendez and his wife Nadine made, quote, false and misleading statements, end quote, to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York on at least 3 separate occasions. And then if you read through the whole document, which was pretty long, 66 pages, you'll see at the end it said this: from at least in or about June 2022 through at least in or about June 2023 in the Southern District and elsewhere, Robert Menendez and Nadine Menendez corruptly influenced, obstructed, and impeded, and endeavored to influence, obstruct, and impede the due administration of justice, federal prosecutors charge. And then the Menendezes wrote checks and letters falsely characterizing the return of bribe money to Wal Hanna, the defendant, and Jose Uribe as repayment for loans, and caused their counsel to make statements regarding the bribe money from Hanna and Uribe and regarding Menendez's awareness of this bribe money. Now, if you read through the indictment again, it continues that the Menendezes knew these statements were false, and they had their attorneys make them in an effort to impede the investigation. So obviously some fairly serious claims here, but we heard straight from the senator's mouth in a statement, and he said this is a flagrant abuse of power and indicated he's still going to be going to trial. This is what he said in part: today's superseding indictment is a flagrant abuse of power. The government has long known that I learned of and helped repay loans, not bribes, that have been provided to my wife. Not content or capable of meeting those facts fairly at trial, the government has now falsely alleged a cover-up and obstruction. The latest charge reveals far more about the government than it says about me. It says the prosecutors are afraid of the facts, scared to subject their charges to the fair-minded scrutiny of a jury, and unconstrained by any sense of justice or fair play. It says once and for all that they will stop at nothing in their zeal to get me. These prosecutors are trying to get me to give in simply by making wild allegations again and again without actually proving anything. So some strong words from the senator, which we've come to expect, but obviously the situation, I think you could say, is looking pretty dire at this moment. Again, this is the third superseding indictment and the fourth one overall since September. And the other two superseding indictments had some pretty strong allegations as well. They said he acted as a foreign agent to Egypt and that he pushed for a development deal with the Qatar government for co-defendant Fred Davies. He's a North Jersey developer. Now, while everyone has pleaded not guilty to date, meaning all the defendants, we actually heard from Jose Uribe on Friday where he surprisingly appeared in court in Manhattan, and he pleaded guilty to 7 different counts and agreed to testify against the senator. So obviously that's a pretty big break in the case as well. Now, Senator Menendez has filed 2 motions to dismiss, along with a motion to suppress evidence thus far, to no avail. Right now, it looks like the May 6th trial is on. Obviously, it seems like it can't go a full day without another thing happening in this case, so we're going to try to stay on top of it and keep you informed. So moving on to something unrelated, let's talk a little bit about the 9th District. Well, it's mostly a Passaic County district. There is a little overlap, as I mentioned at the top of the program. In the 9th Congressional District, they do represent part of Kearney and all of Secaucus. So, of course, we've heard a lot about ceasefire lately. There's been some municipal governments that have approved resolutions. We have that in North Bergen, Union City, and Weehawken. But with that said, there's a big Muslim population in the 9th District, especially in Patterson. So it was expected that U.S. Rep. Bill Pascrell would have a challenger. And while he's not formally declared yet, Prospect Park Mayor looks like he is going to do so either today or tomorrow. That's Mayor Mohammed Karula. And he's of Muslim descent, and he made national headlines last year because he was uninvited to a White House celebration due to being on some sort of a secret list, as he called it, and many interpreted that as some kind of terror watch list. Now, Pascrell is 87 years old. He was first elected to Congress in 1996. He's currently in his 14th term, and he's looking for number 15. Now, with that said, given these tensions in the Middle East, he has come out in support of a conditional ceasefire. He said, "I agree wholeheartedly with the president that Hamas must agree to the ceasefire deal being negotiated that gets hostages out and humanitarian aid in. The scale of suffering in Gaza is ghastly and unacceptable. My heart aches for those affected. President Biden has been relentless seeking a broker deal that allows more humanitarian aid into Gaza to ease this suffering and preserve life. The Biden administration was right to start airdropping supplies, but a trickle of aid cannot suffice. Only with a ceasefire of hostilities can we provide the robust support and medical care necessary to address this crisis of historic proportion. As always, our long-term goal must be 2 states living side by side in peace and security." So there you have it, him advocating for a 2-state solution, which has been the case for just about everyone in New Jersey at this point, at least on the elected federal level. Now, with that, we also have something, back in Jersey City, and we have Hudson County Commissioner Bill O'Day, who's a declared candidate for mayor. What he's trying to do is amend this tenant safety rule. It was an ordinance passed in October 2022 to include elevator repairs as part of tenant protections. And the reason that he's doing this is the Boyd McGinnis Senior Citizen Housing on Monday night. They actually had someone, unfortunately, get stuck in the elevator. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. And he said this has happened there, 630 Bergen Ave, 320 Fairmont Ave, 32 Gifford Ave. There's probably more. But he now has 3 council members, Youssef Saleh, James Solomon, and Frank Gilmore, ready to introduce an amendment at the next meeting, not tonight, but the next meeting. So that's certainly an interesting development. But now we want to talk to you about this debacle at the Board of Education. So I am fortunate today to be joined by Jersey City Education Association President Ron Greco, and we're going to chat right after this word from our sponsors.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just 1 pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, today I'm joined with Jersey City Education Association President Rod Greco. Rod, thanks for joining me.
Hey, John, how are you?
Very
good.
good.
To be here.
Glad to hear it. Well, obviously Thursday night was not what anyone that I know walking into the meeting was expecting. And yeah, well, look, a whole heck of a lot happened. I mean, as far as we could tell, for the moment, there's a new president and vice president, but the way they went about it was very unique, let's just say. So tell me, when this is all transpiring in this 5+ hour meeting, I know you were there in person. I don't know if you stayed the whole time, but what's going through your head?
First, it was surprised at what happened in the meeting, in the auditorium. The meeting started out very nice, as they always do. We have children performing. We had a choir from PS15, and then children from various schools around the city performing oratory pieces that they had performed. So the children work very hard to come to the board meeting. It's an opportunity for parents to see their children, in public performing. We give out attendance awards every month that the superintendent gives out, and the Board of Education, to schools who have, really gotten their attendance up to benchmarks that we're shooting for. And to see a public meeting devolve into such a chaotic fashion is sad. First it was shocking. You go home, you rewatch things on Facebook Live. The next thing, it's 2:45 in the morning. I said I have to go to bed. I had to get up at 6 o'clock. So, and then Friday, just the buzz around town was, what happened, what's going on. People who saw the meeting weighed in. People who didn't see it were hearing about it at their school buildings. I talked to a lot of principals and administrators and teachers, paraprofessionals, secretaries, you name it. Everybody was a little surprised at, in the way it happened, what transpired.
Yeah, I mean, shock and awe, yeah. I mean, what else could you think, right? Now, but having said that, you did a Facebook Live for the JCEA members, and there was an excerpt that somehow got clipped and made its way on other people's pages. And in this excerpt that I saw is about 4 minutes long, you said something to the effect that this was like our January 6th at the Board of Ed. I mean, pretty strong, definitive language. Why'd you feel that way?
I was just down President's Day weekend. I went to Washington and was standing outside the Capitol building, on a sightseeing tour with a group. And you say, wow, you stand in awe of the Washington Monument, the Martin Luther King Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. You see these things on TV, and then to be there in person, you see the magnitude, the size of them. So I was in front of the Capitol, and you say, wow, you're you're playing in your head the TV footage and what happened there. And you say, how could this happen in this day and age in the United States? So when you're in a schoolhouse, I always say the schoolhouse, to see that in a schoolhouse is very sad. People screaming and yelling, and the board getting a total breakdown of law and order. Robert's rules are supposed to govern a meeting. If they can govern Parliament and Congress, and I've been to conventions in Washington and Philadelphia where we have anywhere from 12 to 20,000 people in a convention center, and it runs. The process runs, and you can introduce new business items and take different types of votes, introduce votes as was done at the Board of Education meeting. But there's just a very simple process to follow. So I think by not following that process or doing it in an orderly fashion, it brought us to where we are now. I think if the board, it's a 9-member board, if they're not happy with the leadership, either one or two of the positions, whether it's the vice president or the presidency, there's a way in which you go about changing that up. I don't think it's not necessarily in the middle of a vote or in the middle of public discussion, as the board members were publicly discussing, commenting on things. So it's sad that it got to that point, that children had to see it, that the parents had to see it, that members of the public that were just there to view the meeting. You asked if I had stayed, you didn't know if I stayed to the end. I didn't. By the time they went into closed session, a body always says, we're going in for 45 minutes, 60 minutes. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 2 hours.
Yeah, you never know.
So at that hour of the night, I went home, as did most people.
Got it.
It was late. We saw what happened, what transpired. So I went home, departed from the school. But it's a sad course of events. And again, when you're in a public forum, there should be order maintained. It shouldn't break down into obscenities being yelled and racial epitaphs being thrown around and people that are speaking are being heckled. And it's just, you have to maintain order. It's
Some kind of decorum.
It's like a movie theater. You can't, the old expression, don't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't have a school auditorium with children, parents, members of the public there, and just people, a free-for-all. That's what it broke down to, was a free-for-all.
Got it.
Just like the Capitol.
Point taken. Rod, we're not done. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not done, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. Still John R. Heinis, still here with Jersey City Education Association President Ron Greco. So I imagine anybody watching this already knows what happened, but I'm going to recount briefly. So Natalia Iufi, who was, maybe still is the president, we're still unclear, but she calls a recess. The recess was not immediately honored, so she gets up, superintendent gets up, general counsel gets up, 3 other trustees leave, and then the meeting just continued, and Dejan Morris and Eunice Barkuch proceeded, and those two, Natalia and then Naomi Velasquez were removed, theoretically at least, and then those two were installed as president and vice president respectively. Based on what you said, I think I know the answer, but I'll ask you anyway. Do you think that this was a legal transaction?
I don't know. And the reason I say that is because just having the limited knowledge of Robert's rules to conduct a meeting in school or our office, I believe that you have to have a quorum, which they did have. They had 5 people in total, 4 people present in the school auditorium, and 1 trustee was on her telephone from home. So my guess is that that does count as the quorum. I don't know if the person has to be in person or virtual is allowed. With after COVID, we're in the virtual world. I don't know what the rules say.
Yeah.
I think this is why we need a definitive answer from an outside entity, not the superintendent of schools, not the Natalia or Dejan, who are both claiming that they're the president at this time. The Department of Ed, the Commissioner of Education in New Jersey, that's the body, that's the entity that oversees the Board of Education in all municipalities. I think we have 656 or 657, somewhere around
Sounds
there.
about right.
Boards of Ed in New Jersey. So Jersey City always, gives a good performance from time to time. But as Thursday was sad. My aunt in North Carolina saw it on the news, and so it's out there. It's in the news. It's online. It's all over the place.
It certainly is.
Gives us a black eye. Once again, we just received back from New Jersey full local control. So I think sometimes people don't understand that the actions that you do, the repercussions or the after effects that it can have.
Consequences,
Looking at the
sure.
big picture, the consequences. So,
Yeah.
you do something like this in an attempt to change up the leadership on the board, and anybody can do it. Anybody, a governing body, the library board, the sewage authority, a city council. There's always a change of leadership. There are people that don't like what's going on. They want to make a move to remove people. But again, I think the proper procedure has to be followed, and that's Robert's Rule of Order. And the Department of Ed, I'm sure, will weigh in on this because, I work very closely with NJA, that is the state teachers union, and we're an affiliate of the National Education Association. So, even people in Washington, someone sent a text and said, what's going on? Once again, what's going on in Jersey City? We thought we had some calm, the waters were calm for now. But
Never.
again, those are 9 people. How they feel intimately and what they do in closed session, it is a democratic process at the end of the day. If you all got along, they're not doing their job. That's like any management and employee association or a board of ed. There has to be disagreement. There has to be
Absolutely.
You have to agree to disagree in a respectful fashion in public. When you go in a closed session, I always say to people, whether we're talking about teacher and principal or students and students, a student council, or when you go into closed session, you hash out your differences. You can yell and scream and bang on the table, but when you come out as you should come out as a united front and express as much as you want to let the public know what went on in closed session, but you have your rationale why you come to certain decisions and why things have taken place, such as a changing of the guard,
Sure.
of the officers.
All right, Rod, so we're running short, so let me try to squeeze in 2 here. So some people have said to me the JCEA could have and should have done a better job of vetting candidates in the past 4 to 5 years, mentioning Sudan Thomas and now Dejon Morris. Of course, 2 totally different sets of circumstances. But what do you think about that kind of sentiment?
The process is we did something different last year. We put an old-fashioned ad in the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger and said around this time of the year, March or April, are you interested in running for the board? And we had links, information we gave out to New Jersey School Boards Association so people could see what is a board member, what are the responsibilities, what do I do? Just to gauge public interest, because it's very difficult to find people that want to run for the board. It's an insurmountable amount of time that you have to give. It is free of charge. You're giving your whole life up. Besides those 2 meetings a month, there are committee meetings that go on all month. You're in constant communication with your colleagues, with the superintendent. So it is a lot of work. And then, because of what the public sees, everyone I say, hey, why don't you think for running the board? They say, thought you were my friend. Why do you want me on the board to sit there till midnight at these meetings and, getting involved in all of these things? So we are going to have some dialogue and discussion about how we vet candidates, but you always take a risk. If your political action committee, your group decided to endorse me, and I have a great resume, I come off well polished and well spoken and articulate all the points very well, and then I get on the board, and if I have an agenda that I'm looking to carry out for personal gain or for another entity or group of people, it can happen. So
Sure.
it's always a risk. It's always a risk in any board, not just this board, any board.
Agreed. Yeah. Now, before you go, you mentioned the Jersey Journal. Yesterday, there was some chatter there about appointed school board. What are your thoughts?
I'd say no. I think that there are a lot of stakeholders in the community, from City Hall to parents to the Teachers and Employees Association. Maybe we need to have more robust conversations, get everybody at the table, and that's something I'm already thinking of. We have a lot of council people that weighed in, and I'm glad that they are alert. Because you don't hear from these people unless they want to critique you or slap you down in public, slap the board members around or the teachers union around. But I'll work on that, to get everyone to the table, and they're going to hear me say it on this program. So we'll do that because it has to be conversation. But I think staying away from the appointed board is, of course, Mayor Fulop said right now it's not good. It's not a good time. Of course, he's running for governor, and he did say that he wouldn't want the next mayor to be saddled with people that he chose, and it's not politically astute for him to say that now anyway. So we will be revisiting the process of selecting candidates.
Rod, thank you so much.
All
Always
right,
a pleasure.
thanks, John. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're not done yet. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Heinis. Let's talk about a couple more stories before we let you call it a week here. So, the Jersey City Council this evening expected to vote on a new union memorandum of understanding after reaching a settlement. So, what I'm talking about is the Jersey City Supervisors Association. Back in 2020, Governor Phil Murphy declared a state of emergency, and Mayor Stephen Fulop followed suit. And this union wanted to be paid double time for their work done, the work performed, and it's been tied up at the state level. And finally, we've reached an agreement. And if you read the resolution, you can see what that agreement is. And basically it says, during the state of emergency, the city joined the JSA in establishing that employees who work during the state of emergency covering the city, as declared by the governor of New Jersey, will receive double pay for all hours worked during the state of emergency under Executive Order 103, which is Governor Murphy 2020. And whereas the city paid eligible members of JCSA double time for hours worked between March 9, 2020 and July 6, 2020, and then ceased payment, which was contested by JSCA due to the executive order not having been repealed. Following arbitration under PERC docket number AR 2021-414, the city and JCSA negotiated a settlement in good faith. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because that's not the first time that this has happened. The first time actually was when the Jersey City Local 245 sued for double time pay. That was in May 2018. It took about 3 years to make it to the appellate court, and they actually reversed the decision and said they were indeed owed double time. So, you know, an interesting turn of events, but not unprecedented, as I just mentioned. So that Jersey City Council meeting's tonight at 6 o'clock, and that's going to be at City Hall, 280 Grove Street, and it'll stream on Microsoft Teams if you can't make it in person, but you still want to see what's going on. So over in the Mile Square City, they've had a relatively peaceful week, things considered. But of course, the council meeting's tonight, so I'm sure that's going to change shortly. And we have two council members coming out talking about Rebuild by Design, specifically these easements in Jersey City. We've talked about this, and at their prior meeting 2 weeks ago, there was an engineering contract, $75,000 contract up to do a feasibility study. The feasibility study, if you guys recall, was to check in and see what the impact on these easements would have on a potential light rail station. Now, it hasn't moved much in the past couple months, but they've certainly been talking about it a lot. And the letter, which was written by 1st Ward Councilman Paul Presidentizado and 4th Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos, was addressed to Mayor Ravi Bala. And basically it said before the council had asked to vote on approving the study, they want a few things in writing. They want the NJDEP, Department of Environmental Protection, to say that the study would resolve the matter between liquid equities in Jersey City. They want all pleadings, appraisals, reports, and other supporting documents from the Condemnation Commission hearing, and some written assurances from Governor Phil Murphy's office that this says the state would cover additional light rail costs. You saw the New York Times had a quote from his office a couple months ago, and that was referenced. And you know, they mentioned that this is all coming to a head here after Mayor Stephen Fulop appeared right in this program a month ago, and they're now trying to follow up and rectify. Also of note, the council, which you know fights like cats and dogs on most weeks, has come out unanimously in support of not putting forward a ceasefire motion. I'm sure we're still going to hear a lot of people talking about that during public comment tonight, but they made it very clear that that's not going to happen. So having said that, folks, I think we've given you a lot to chew on this week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group.